Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we want to continue our Viper job quest after unlocking the job last time. Keshkwa, what's up? Viper in the Vidraal's shadow. Good to see you this way. After a lot of asking around, I dug up some new leads on Iq Soq Xmajun. Or at least I think I did. Wasn't easy though. At first the only stories of interest were about Gridanian poachers dealing in so-called exotic meats. Juveniles. In other words, too young and too dead to be what we're after. That detour notwithstanding, there were a few other tidbits that might be useful. I got my own thoughts in the matter, but I want to hear yours too. That alright? Much obliged. So here an adventurer came across a whole bunch of strikingly beautiful red feathers just outside of town. We're not giving them to some kids who've been playing with them ever since. More to the point, there was talk of a huge beast with glowing blue eyes flying off toward a place called the Black Shroud. Red feathers, blue eyes, put the two together and it sounds an awful lot like Iq Soq Xmajun. Seems that enough of Thunderland and picked the Shroud as its new stamping ground. But what's your take on it all? It's a promising lead. I knew you'd agree. After the amount of mystery meat I had to sample just to squeeze information out of those butchers at the market, I'm glad it all paid off. As for our next move, I reckon we ought to take an airship to Gridania. From what I hear, a fella by the name of Gavin over at the Adder's Nest should be able to tell us more. I'll meet you there. How might I help? I'm after a tural, Vidraal. I mean, I'm searching for this dangerous creature that's come over from another continent. I see. As it happens, I'm aware of a beast that matches the description of this Iq Soq Xmajun. Our scout spoke of its blue eyes and red wings, and its aggressive nature leading it to attack any who dare approach. So it really is here in the Shroud, and up to no good already. Thankfully there have been no deaths so far, but it's only a matter of time before a merchant or adventurer becomes the first. I believe Iq Soq Xmajun came here in search of new territory. Fanalism wasn't to its liking, and now it's testing out the Shroud. It would appear so. I'll tell the other adders that you're pursuing the beast and to lend that assistance we can. I assume that's alright with you? Yes, sir. The more the merrier. Slaying the bastards is what matters, and I ain't too proud to accept help when it's offered. So where was it last seen? In the South Shroud. Once you get there, head for Quarry Mill and look for Lieutenant Goliath. He's leading the search. Lieutenant Goliath at Quarry Mill. Best of luck. I don't think he mentioned Quarry Mill first time. I don't believe it with pleasure. I gather you two are in pursuit of a creature. I'm guessing that's Lieutenant Goliath, but who are those two? You must be Keshkwa and Desiree. The others have sent word to expect you both. I'm Goliath, the officer in charge of this operation. This is Innocent Stork, who's provided us with vital information. A merchant in her employ spotted the beast on her way back from Ul'dah. She's also taken the liberty of assembling a team of experts to assist in tracking the target. At no small expense, I might add, but compared to the losses my business would suffer were the creature allowed to roam free, I deemed it a worthy investment. As our goals are aligned, perhaps you wish to join my experts in the field? If so, you'll find them near Roots Lake. I'm sure you get along swimmingly. Looks like you're late to the party. Let's go hear what they have to say. The sailor standing behind me? My bodyguard. One can never be too careful, particularly when traversing known trade routes. In light of Innocent Stork's considerable generosity, the twin heirs have decided to let their experts handle the primary research effort in our stead. My men and I will provide support by making inquiries around the settlements and sharing any new information we happen to acquire. Was she the one who watched us? The one who wanted to catch it alive, I think? If I understood it correctly? I'd say we found our experts. Fresh meat for the hunt, huh? Order came down to let you tag along, but don't get underfoot. We're looking for signs of a creature so our naturalists can predict its movements. We'll then lay traps where it's expected to appear. Got themselves a proper plan, don't they? Seeing as they're being so accommodating, may as well join in the search. Sign of activity, maybe? Oh yeah. The dung appears to be that of an enormous beast. Judging by its dry appearance and muted odor, it was excreted some time ago. The dung exudes a foul odor. The lingering warmth indicates it was recently deposited. Oh, and kills. These beasts bear the marks of enormous claws on their hindquarters, suggesting they were struck down as they attempted to flee. Found me a few signs of activity. How about you? Corpses of grazing animals scorched by monstrous claws. Same here. The size and depth of the wounds are consistent with how Iq Soq Xmajun hunts. And just like back in Tural, it's killing not just to eat, but also to mark its territory, to show anyone and everyone who's boss. There you are. Managed to sniff anything out? Yes, sir. Aside from a couple of dunghills, we found some dead wildlife, most likely the work of Iq Soq Xmajun. I reckon it's close, somewhere north of a swamp. We came to the same conclusion. This predator makes no attempt to cover its tracks. Clearly it survived so long by virtue of its immense proportions and in spite of its diminished intelligence. You got it all wrong. It left those tracks on purpose to see how we react. Are you saying the beast is testing us? It's absurd. The level of foresight and cunning required to even attempt to do so is far beyond these lesser beings. As for corpses left behind, those animals must not have been to its taste. I suggest using fresh cuts of prime livestock as bait. The bloodier the better. Once the creature has been enticed, surrounding and subduing it is but a formality. I hate to break it to you, but Iq Soq Xmajun is way too clever for all of that. You're gonna need every trick in the book and then some. Rest assured, I've considered every eventuality, and even if there was merit to your advice, I will not let it be said that our success was the product of anyone's genius but mine and mine alone. What difference does it make who came up with it? A monetary difference. Innocent Stork offers better rewards based on performance. I don't even think about trying to steal our thunder. We're ones who bring her Iq Soq, whatever its name is, not you. Listen, we are trying to fight large predators like these. If you got any sense, you let us take the lead. And put our lives in the hand of complete strangers? I think not. There's no place in our strategy for you, so stand aside and await further instructions. Fine. Have it your way. If you're half the hunter you think you are, Iq Soq Xmajun is as good as dead, right? Come on this way, let's leave him to it. Nothing good ever came from working with people you can't trust. Even I know that. When it's decided, you two will wait at the southern end of the lower paths. Be ready to give chase in case the beast escapes us. Not that it will. They think they're hunting an ordinary beast, but this is a tural Vidraal, so like an auspice in the Far East. These creatures are intelligent. A viper should be the one to finish off Iq Soq Xmajun, to properly avenge our brothers in arms, but really it doesn't matter who does the deed, so long as the beast dies. Awful quiet, don't you think? You hear that? It must be one of a hunting party. It came from north, let's move. Well, that... It's bad, real bad. I know it hurts, but please, tell us what happened. It was watching us. That fresh lamp should draw the target out of hiding. Whoever laced it with a toxin I brought, success is practically guaranteed. Toxin? You explicitly told not to kill the beast in case you'd forgotten. Of course not. It can be used as a sedative, highly potent but only lethal if applied in excess. If you lack the stomach for it, I do it myself. Naturally, my personal contributions will be detailed in the final report, to ensure credit is given their due. What the hell are you playing at? If it catches wind, the plan's ruined. Shouldn't we go after them? No, it'll only make things worse. If that Brickworm wants to stick his neck out for a few more Gilmore, I say let him. What? No! Ah! Gods of mercy, where it is! Stay calm, nothing's changed except the bait. Now's our chance. They were screaming. I ran, but I could still hear. You're right, it knew. It knew. Keshkwa, Disarray, by the 12, what happened here? The hunters became the hunted. I shall see that the remains are recovered and the necessary rites performed. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to return to Quarry Mill and share these unfortunate tidings with innocent Stork. Even with the sedatives, they didn't stand a chance. If only I talked them out of it, this never would have happened. I'd anticipated casualties, but it was a massacre. Iq Soq Xmajun's grown bolder. Before it only hunted animals, lone travelers, prey it knew it could handle with ease. Its past brushes with death taught it to be cautious. That's probably why it fled tural in the first place too. But it just outwitted a group of armed hunters. Instead of running away from trouble, the beast went looking for it. This was sport, a game. It was having fun. And now that it has a taste, it's only gonna want more. My poor judgment invited this tragedy. I must make amends. Please allow me to assist you in pursuing the creature. Even without a team of experts at my disposal, I believe my network of contacts will prove useful in gathering vital information. We'd be grateful for information, but we'll take care of the rest. Understood. I place my faith in your abilities as vipers. Appreciate it, ma'am. If you turn up any leads, be sure to let us know. I'd best return to the Adder's Nest and deliver my report. It's imperative we inform the populace of a threat posed by Iq Soq Xmajun. Might I ask you to use Quarry Mill as a temporary base of operations? Knowing where to find you will make it easier to coordinate our efforts. Suits me fine. Besides, I've got plenty to do here. Like learn about this neck of the woods and the critters and whatnot. But while I have you, there's one thing I want to ask. How did the twin adders get their name? I beg your pardon? What does that have to do with Iq Soq Xmajun? Nothing really, it's just that us vipers based our fighting arts on snakes. So they're near and dear to our hearts. Might even say we got a reverence for them. Is that so? I suppose we also feel a kinship towards snakes. The name Twin Adder comes from a pair of white snakes on the Gardanian standard, though that imagery predates the city-state's founding. There's more I could tell you, though I fear other matters must take precedence. With a history as long as that, we'd be here talking till the packers come home. I'd love to hear more about it, but I understand it has to wait. I'd best get learning what I can about Iq Soq Xmajun. Well, I see to that. Maybe you ought to squeeze in some more training. I had a bad feeling when I woke up this morning, and sure enough, Iq Soq Xmajun has struck again. Golia is an innocent stalker trying to narrow down where it'll appear next, based on the report, but so far they've come up empty. I hear Goliath is over at Falgard Float, talking to witnesses. Let's go see what he's learned. Same as with innocent stalks hunters, it's leaving their corpses where they lie, uneaten, all to make a point. This is my claiming, you live and die at my pleasure. Thank you for coming. I expect Keshkwa has shared some of the details, but it's even worse than we thought. Iq Soq Xmajun grows increasingly bold, with deadly consequences. For blessing the people, he remained calm, but we must act quickly to avoid widespread panic. The others have called upon anyone with information to share and asked if they gather here. As we requested that any detail be reported, no matter how small, we find ourselves somewhat inundated. I'm certain, however, that among the account are clues vital to locating our quarry. We can help with it. All we gotta do is ask folks around here what they've seen, right? Ah yes, that would be most helpful. Perhaps we could start near the Aetheryte while Desiree asks those over by the bobbing cork? I recommend questioning the adventurers. With their curious nature and penchant for getting into trouble, they're more likely to have seen something of interest. Call me crazy, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of these conversational arts. Might be I had a good teacher. I was passing through the North Shore when I saw a frightful creature with immense red wings. It was a little too far away to see clearly, but it seemed to be battling a group of smaller beasts, which it promptly slaughtered before flying away. Even from a distance I could make out what it did to those other smaller creatures. I never forget the way its claws ripped through them like a knife through butter. I saw it flying over the central shroud. With each flap of its massive wings came a powerful wind, bearing the scent of blood. So noxious and suffocating it was all I could do not to vomit where I stood. Those crimson wings with stench of blood. It'll haunt me till the end of my days. How did I miss you? While passing through, I heard that some fiend was on a rampage over in the East Shroud. Didn't think much of it at first, but when I saw all the people coming from that direction and the looks on their faces, I decided to stay put. Good thing I did too, or might have died. Everyone's got a story to share, but nothing that seems to point where Iq Soq Xmajun might strike next. You do any better? North, East, and Central Shroud, huh? The folks I asked said it was in the south. I tell you, must be trying to make the whole damn forest its territory. Hold on now. One of the guys I talked to was in the East Shroud. Your witness heard the beast was on a rampage, but mine said he never saw Iq Soq Xmajun, even though they should have been there at the same time. That's worth looking into, don't you think? Might be onto something there. I'm not saying it's the answer, but you never know where the trail take you till you follow it. I have to go chat with that fellow again. I'll take you to him. With the gentleman who thought that with the East Shore didn't see a thing, or so he says. As I said before, I was traversing the East Shore on an errand and heard what sounded like flapping of enormous wings. A moment later I saw a wounded animal charging through the brush. It was then I recalled the rumor of a monstrosity on the loose, realized I was in danger and ran. So the critter was hurt but still able to make an escape? But the only way it could have gotten away from Iq Soq Xmajun is the bastard chose to let it go. Meanwhile, our friend here was close enough to hear the wings flapping, yet lived to tell the tale. An adventurer traveling alone would have been easy pickings. So why did Iq Soq Xmajun spare him? He was carrying something that no other adventurer had? All I had on me were some bottled potions and ethers. But there was one other thing. I carry a potpourri filled with Giabanian wildgrass, an Alamegan custom in case you are unaware. That's gotta be it. Goliath will want to hear about this. We can go over finer detail later, but first we need Goliath to look into something for me. Could you wait here a moment? Keshkwa has asked me to verify a theory of his. I jump along. It is exactly as you surmised. Most of those who've seen Iq Soq Xmajun and live to tell the tale are Alamegan adventurers. I knew it. It's gotta be that fragrance. A lot of animals have a powerful sense of smell, and Iq Soq Xmajun's no exception, which makes it that much more sensitive to odors that it doesn't care for. I reckon the beast can't stand the wild grass in those potpourris. It's a potent fragrance, a lot like other kinds of grass we got back in Tural. Come to think of it, Iq Soq Xmajun never went near anywhere that grass was growing. If one man's meat is another's poison, perhaps the same can be said for aromas? Exactly. And now that we know what Iq Soq Xmajun can stomach, we can use this information to drive it where we want it. Then it would behoove me to share our discovery with Innocent Stork. Given the information and context at her disposal, I dare say she'll help us find a way to utilize the fragrance to its maximum potential. I dare say you're right. In the meantime, we'll head over to Giabani and pick up some wild grass. Yes, by all means. We must do everything in our power to avoid further tragedy. Many of the adventurers gathered here are so terrified of encountering Iq Soq Xmajun that they're considering abandoning the profession entirely. Several are yet fledglings. They had to contend with a foe far beyond their reckoning. They'd die before gaining enough experience to even be considered adventurers. The thought of their bright futures being snatched away like that is almost more than I can bear. This is the very reason I joined the Twin Adders, to prevent such senseless deaths. Therefore I humbly request your cooperation in slaying the dread Iq Soq Xmajun. No need. I had every intention of putting the bastard in the dirt. To the matter at hand then. A few moments ago, one of the adventurers mentioned that the wild grass we seek grows abundant at Pike Falls. Once you've collected enough, let us rendezvous at Quarry Mill. I must warn you though, that Giabania is home to some particularly vicious wildlife. Be on your guard. I let the Alden Alliance know you'll be harvesting necessary supplies in the fringes, lest the Sentinels mistake or two of you for bandits or worse. I have quite a bit. I'd rather do it. As much as I'd love to stick around and study the wildlife, we'd better get back to Quarry Mill. Now we just need to wait to diffuse the extract. Upon being informed of your plan to entrap Iq Soq Xmajun, I came as quickly as I could. You've done well to gather so much wildgrass. As promised, I've called upon Innocent Stork to advise us on our next steps. I've placed an order with an alchemist acquaintance for custom-made diffuser pouches, which you may employ to spread the aroma over a wide area while prolonging its potency. We will issue these pouches to twin adder units tasked with driving a beast into an isolated location of our choosing. Away from civilians, an ideal spot for a final showdown. Good thinking. Indeed, once the pouches have been produced, the beast is as good as ours. If I may, there's a further request I wish to make. Rather than slay Iq Soq Xmajun outright, would you instead be able to capture it alive? The better to understand its behavior, such knowledge will prove invaluable should predators of similar nature trouble us in the future. That's a risk we can't afford to take, ma'am. Those hunters of yours tried baiting it with a carcass laced with sedatives, but Iq Soq Xmajun saw right through their plan. It demonstrated a degree of cunning to rival any man's. Even if we did capture it, it's only a matter of time before it escaped and killed again. There's only one way you can deal with a monstrosity like that. You slay it first chance you get. No half measures, no hesitation. When we are left with no other choice. Pray forgive me for making such an ill-considered suggestion. I shall abandon all thought of capturing the beast and instead turn my attention to the procurement of the diffuser pouches. You will hear from me soon. She ought to know by now what we're up against. Why even ask? She can't be trusted. I ain't the type to guess at folks' motivations. Wish she'd do us all a favor and put her cards on the table. The rich and the powerful are rarely so obliging. You got that right. But since Assault of the Earth are speaking our minds, there's a fear in you, but of what I can't tell. Gil for your thought? Never know, I might be able to help. After talking with those adventurers, I can't help but feel a little scared of Iq Soq Xmajun, that's all. Anyway, I should return to Gridania to make my report. Folks always saying one thing but meaning another. Just when I was starting to believe I'd gotten the hang of polite conversation. Ain't no forcing the issue, I know. If Gorlias has something to say, he'll say it when he's good and ready. So now we gotta wait for his pouches and who knows how long it'll be. I keep an eye on things here, so I recommend you get ready to face Iq Soq Xmajun. Alright, so we make ready to get it, but our allies are not the most trustworthy right now. Good, we will see where it develops towards. But we will do that next time, because I end the episode here. Until next time then, I'm Mace and don't get lost.